conducting a sales seminar. And in the meantime, she had gotten our set of tapes, and she had learned that everybody's in sales. See, the sales department is not our whole company, but our whole company is our sales department. Everybody's in sales. And so when I got there for the sales seminar, there she sat right on the front row, grinning so wide she could have eaten a banana sideways. I mean, she was really excited. And I said, well, how you doing? She grinned even more broadly, and she said, I'm doing wonderfully well, Mr. Ziegler. You cannot believe how much those people down there have changed. So basically, how do you change all those people I'm talking about? You don't. You change you. And when you change you, that's when your world begins to change. See, God said to build a better world, and I said, how? It's such a cold and lonely place, and I'm so small and useless, there's nothing I can do. But God, in all His wisdom, said, just build a better you. That's what this is about, building a better you. Because you see, you got to be before you can do. You got to do before you can have. You got such a wide range of choices, and we're filled with them. Read a story of some twins, two twins. One of them was an alcoholic. One of them was enormously successful. Their father was an alcoholic. In separate interviews, they asked the alcoholic twin, how did it happen that you became an alcoholic? He said, I had no choice. You see, my father was an alcoholic. They asked a very successful young man, how'd you do it? He said, I had no choice. You see, my father was an alcoholic. I didn't want to be like him. The choice, you see, is ours. And we go through life with that. Now, as you can tell, as I said earlier, I do tell a lot of stories. I'm going to share a lot of philosophy with you. Philosophy simply means the love of wisdom. One of the things that you will hear me say over and over is that you can have everything in life you want if you'll just help enough other people get what they want. I'll be quoting an awful lot of people. I'll be quoting Fred Smith. I'll be quoting John Maxwell, John Johnson, Mary Kay, Mary Crowley, Solomon, Lincoln, Confucius, Emerson, St. Augustine, Christ, Helen Keller, Mother Teresa, Dr. Forrest Tunnett, Rabbi Daniel Lapin, Martin Luther King, George Washington Carver. I'll be quoting Mahatma Gandhi and many, many others. I try to give credit when somebody gives me information. I do that for three reasons. Number one, it is the right thing to do. Number two, it indicates I've done my research. Number three, if it's wrong, I can always say, that fella ought to have known better than that, okay? Now, let me say to you without any fear of error that you were born to win. But in order to be the winner that you were born to be, you got to plan to win, you got to prepare to win, and then and only then can you legitimately expect to win. Let me also tell you something else. Most of you in this live audience honestly and sincerely believe that my overhead is fairly well fouled up. Now, am I right on that, please, all right? Let me point out that really it is not fouled up. It is simply a little out of focus. Does that make it better? You see, focus makes a lot of difference. Focus simply means that you're in the same place physically and emotionally. Dr. Lewis Terman in 1920 at Stanford University started a study on 1,440 gifted youngsters. When he retired, another professor was assigned to them. They followed them to the end of their life. Many of them were extremely successful, brilliant young men and women. Many of them had gone on to great success. Not a single one attributed their IQ to their success. What they attributed to their success was their ability to focus on the issue at hand. You see, a lot of people, when they're working on the job, they're thinking about other things. They're thinking about the family. When they're with the family, they're thinking about the job. And they're not doing either job very effectively. You really need to be able to focus on what's going on. Now, let me simply say this. You were born to win, but you got to plan, you got to prepare, and you got to expect to win. Bobby Knight, who's won 3 national championships in basketball at Indiana University, says that the will to win is nothing without the will to prepare to win. In the National Football League, and I'm not a football expert, authority, the only thing I know about football, and know that I know, is that when the official calls a foul on the Cowboys, he is wrong. That's the only thing I really know about the game. But I do know one other thing about it, and that is this. In the last 2 minutes of the half, and in the last 2 minutes of the game, they score 20% of all of the points that are scored during the entire 60 minutes. In 4 minutes, they score 20% of all of the points in the entire 60 minutes. And the reason they do is they have the 2-minute offense. Into the first half, into the second half is when they do the score. And they plan to score. They prepare to score, and consequently they expect to score. Then incredibly enough, the defense cooperates with them to help them score. Now I know, as you sit there in your car or whatever you're doing, listen to this, you're thinking, now Ziegler, that's crazy, man. Why, the defense all week long, they practice that defense. They have what they call their prevent defense. They take the linebackers out, they send in their nickel backs, they put in their 2 best pass rushers, they get in a bend but don't break mode. They call it their prevent defense. Well, let me ask you a question. If they score 3 times as fast against the prevent defense as they do the regular defense, is it prevent or permit? What do you think? Now, let me kind of get us together and think, because you see, a few thousand years ago, a fellow named Job said something that's profound. He said, that which I feared greatly has come to pass. They're afraid they're going to score, and that fear comes to pass. Now, psychologists will tell you in a New York minute, and for your information, that's 32 seconds. They will tell you in a New York minute that you move to the strongest impression in your mind. And if you're afraid they're going to score on you, then the chances go up that, yes, they will score on you. Did you know that if an arresting police officer keeps the light flashing when he pulls a motorist aside, that the odds are 7 times as great that he will be run into by a passing motorist? That's right. They call it the moth attraction. The field goal kicker who says, oh, I'll miss it, we'll lose the game, is much more likely to miss it than is the one who says, I'll split the uprights, we'll win the game. The worst possible thing a parent can say to a child who wants to help with the dishes is, okay, but be careful. This is our best china. Don't break it. If they'd sat up all night praying, Lord, what can I tell this kid to help him break the dishes? They couldn't have done a better job in doing it. The sales manager who sends a salesperson out and said, now this is our #1 account, don't foul it up, couldn't have given them worse instruction. I'm sending you out because I have complete confidence that you're the one person I can depend on to handle this in the very best possible way. Let me give you a specific example. How many of you remember the tragedy that took place in San Francisco in 1982 when the San Francisco 49ers beat the Dallas Cowboys in the FC Championship game? Now, I know a lot of you folks listening to this not going to think that's a tragedy, but believe me, it was. You remember what happened. Dallas had just gone ahead. They'd scored a touchdown. Now they kick off. 2 minutes to play. Montana leads the 49ers all the way down the field. We've got our prevent defense in there. And you know what the play was? He sends Dwight Clark into the end zone. He throws him the pass. Clark doesn't realize he's trying to throw the ball out of the stadium. He jumps 28 feet straight up in the air, makes the catch. The 49ers win the game. Now, when the Cowboys got back the next day, Tex Schramm, who was the president of the Cowboys at that time, was being interviewed by the media. And they asked him, Tex, what happened? And he gave us a lesson in life with his answer. He said the Dallas Cowboys went out there determined not to lose the game. The San Francisco 49ers went out there determined to win the game. See, in this series, I want you thinking, how do I win the game? What I know about football, I'm not a football coach, but I am a verbal coach. I wouldn't send nickel backs out there to defend for my team. How much value, if somebody said, I'm going to send my nickel employee out to help you. I mean, I got a service person, you know. Hey, would that really turn the light your fire? Or would you think, boy, you know, I'll be at least a dime. Well, anyhow, what I would do is I would send the Bruise Brothers out there. I would send the takeover guys. I would send the control team out there. I would send the intimidators out there. I would send somebody out determined not only to keep them from scoring, but to take that ball away and us score ourselves. Yes, I believe that you were designed for accomplishment. I believe you're engineered for success. I believe you're endowed with the seeds of greatness. You were born to win. But you got to have a plan if you are going to win. Now, what is winning? Well, the reality is that all of us want basically the same thing. And I'll be talking about this a whole lot. Everybody wants to be happy. I've never yet met anybody who said, no, I want to be miserable. Everybody wants to be healthy. Everybody wants to be at least reasonably prosperous. And I know many of you want to be unreasonably prosperous. That's okay. I've had money and I haven't had it, and I'm here to tell you, it's better to have it, folks. There's just, no question about it. Now, a lot of times, some of my Bible-reading friends will misquote the Bible and say, the Bible says that money is the root of all evil, and obviously it doesn't. He said the love of money is the root of all evil. Christ himself, 2/3 of the parables he taught, had to do with our physical and financial well-being. 2/3 of the success stories there had to do with that subject. There's a lot more talk about success in the Bible than there is heaven. Good Samaritan never could have put that old boy up at the inn after he'd been mugged if he hadn't had some money to do it.